At 19, you break into a company's database by accident, and 5 minutes later, something breaks into you. A message appears on your screen. No username, no profile, just a single encrypted link. You weren't supposed to get this far. You're not a genius or a prodigy. You're sitting in a dim college dorm, running scripts you barely understand, copy-pasted from anonymous forums. People like you are called script kiddies. You don't build the weapon, you just pull the trigger. But tonight, it works. A simple SQL injection. You hit enter. The cursor blinks once, twice, and then everything spills open. Usernames, password hashes, internal data. A rocked system suddenly wide open. Your heart starts racing, not because of the data, but because of what it means. You just bypassed a professional security system from your bedroom. You take a screenshot, blur the sensitive parts, and post it on a hidden forum. You expect nothing, maybe a few likes, maybe a nice, but 5 minutes later, a message appears. It doesn't feel human. No typos, no delay, no personality, just precision. One word, click. Your instincts tell you to ignore it. This is how people get tracked. This is how people disappear. But curiosity wins. You open a sandbox, an isolated system, and click the link. The screen goes black. Then a terminal appears. A countdown starts. 60 minutes. Find the vulnerability, or this never happened. Suddenly, this isn't a game anymore. Your fingers start moving, fast, messy, focused. You're not thinking, you're reacting. Time feels expensive. Every mistake feels fatal. 40 minutes pass, nothing. 50 minutes, still nothing. Then, with 5 minutes left, you see it. A tiny misconfiguration, invisible to anyone who isn't desperate enough to look. You exploit it. Access granted. 3 seconds before the timer hits 0. The screen freezes. Then a new message appears. Coordinates, a date, a time, no explanation. You stare at your reflection in the dark screen. You look the same, but something has changed. You didn't just break into a system. You got noticed. And somewhere, someone just added your name to a list. You can't leave. You arrive at the coordinates expecting something out of a movie, an underground bunker, glowing screens, people in hoodies speaking in code. Instead, you find a dull office building squeezed between a dental clinic and a dry cleaner. The sign reads something forgettable, like Bureau of Statistical Research. But the moment you step inside, you feel it. The guards don't look like security, they look like soldiers. They take your phone, your watch, even your keys, and hand you a plastic badge that only opens a few locked doors. No one explains anything. They don't have to. Inside, the world changes. No windows, no outside noise, just rows of identical desks, identical screens, and people your age wearing the same tired expression. This is the reality behind the fantasy. Cyber warfare isn't fast and it isn't glamorous. It's slow, repetitive, quiet. Your job is simple. Scan. Thousands of IP addresses over and over again, looking for a single weakness. One outdated server, one employee who forgot to update something, one open door in a city of locked ones. Hours pass, then days. Most of the time you find nothing, and when you do find something, it's small. A printer with a default password, a weak login, a minor crack in the system. You log it, categorize it, and pass it up the chain. That's it. You don't exploit it. You don't go deeper. You're not the one who breaks in. You're the one who points at the door. That's when it hits you. You're not a hacker anymore. You're an employee. There are managers tracking performance, reports that need to be filed, metrics that define your value. There's an HR department, a schedule, even a pension plan waiting at the end of a career you didn't fully understand when you walked in. The thrill you felt back in your dorm room, the rush of breaking in, is gone. In its place is routine. And something else, replaceability.
You look around and realize everyone here could be swapped out tomorrow. If you leave, someone else takes your seat, logs into your system, and continues exactly where you stopped. The machine doesn't care who you are. It only cares that the work gets done. Days blend together. The screen glows, the cursor blinks, and somewhere between scanning your 10,000th target and logging another minor vulnerability, a question starts forming in your head. Is this really what you signed up for? Because this isn't about brilliance, it's not about talent, it's about patience, endless, grinding patience. And for the first time since you click that link, you feel bored again.
Level 3. The Operator. The shift happens quietly. No announcement, no celebration, just a change in clearance and a door that finally opens. You're moved off the main floor into a restricted section behind reinforced steel where fewer people speak and no one asks questions. This is where the real work happens. You're not scanning anymore. You're inside. You're an operator now. Your first mission isn't dramatic. No global bank, no military target, just a mid-level energy company in a neighboring country. But the briefing makes one thing clear. If their systems go down, an entire region feels it. Factories stop, supply chains freeze, lights go out. Your objective isn't to destroy anything. Not yet. It's simpler and far more dangerous. Get in, stay hidden, and wait. You quickly learn that the strongest defenses aren't firewalls, they're people. So you don't start with code, you start with a person. An IT manager. You study him for days, his habits, his interests, the small details he shares online without thinking. Then you become someone he would trust. A name, a profile, a conversation that feels real. You don't hack the system, you enter his world. Weeks pass before you make your move. You send him a document, harmless on the surface, useful even, something he'd want to open. And then you wait. When it happens, you feel it before you even see it. The click. A quiet, invisible moment that changes everything. On your screen, a new window opens. You're no longer outside the network, you're inside it. Files, emails, internal systems, it's all there, unfolding in front of you. Not stolen, not forced, given. You move carefully, slowly, blending into normal activity, one step at a time. No alarms, no noise, just presence. The rush is different now. It's colder, controlled. There's no chaos, no adrenaline spikes, just precision. You move deeper, hopping from one system to another, mapping everything without leaving a trace. You're not breaking in anymore. You're living inside. But then, something shifts. As you scroll through files and internal messages, you start noticing details you weren't meant to see. Names, conversations, people complaining about work, talking about their families, planning their weekends. For a moment, the target stops feeling like a system. It feels human. And that thought lingers longer than it should. You push it away. You have a job, a role, a purpose defined by something bigger than you. You're not here to question it. You're here to execute it. So you finish what you came to do. You plant the access point, secure it, hide it so well it looks like it belongs there. Then, just as quietly as you entered, you leave. The system keeps running. The company keeps working. Nothing appears broken. But now, there's a door inside their network that only you know about, and it's always unlocked. Level 4. The Developer. The excitement of breaking into systems doesn't last forever. After a while, you realize something uncomfortable. You're not creating anything. You're just using tools built by someone else. Every breach, every access point, every successful operation, it all depends on code you didn't write.
And slowly, that starts to bother you. You don't just want to break the system anymore. You want to understand it, control it, rewrite it. That's when everything changes. You're moved again, this time into a quieter, more isolated wing where fewer people exist, and the ones who do barely speak. There are no dashboards here, no live operations, no chatter, just screens filled with raw code, endless lines of it. This is research and development. This is where the real weapons are made. You stop downloading exploits. You stop relying on forums. Now you build everything from scratch. You take apart operating systems piece by piece, studying how they think, how they fail, where they break under pressure. Hours turn into days, days into weeks, and eventually you start seeing patterns, tiny flaws hidden deep inside software that billions of people trust every single day. And then, one day, you find one. A vulnerability no one else knows about. No patch, no fix, no defense. A hidden doorway that's been there since the beginning, waiting for someone patient enough to notice it. This is what they call a 0 day. In another world, you would report it, help fix it, protect the people using that system. But that's not why you're here. Here, discovery isn't the end, it's just the beginning. You don't close the door, you turn it into a weapon. You write the code slowly, carefully, expanding that tiny flaw into full access, something reliable, something silent, something that can move through systems without being seen. It's precise work, clean work, the kind of work that doesn't just break things, it controls them. At first, it feels powerful, almost unreal. You're no longer reacting to the system, you're shaping it, deciding how it fails, when it fails, and who even realizes it failed at all. But then the realization hits. This isn't just about data anymore. As you refine your code, you start seeing where it could go, not just into emails or corporate networks, but into infrastructure, power grids, industrial controls, systems that don't just store information, but run the real world, systems that keep cities alive. And suddenly, the code on your screen doesn't look like code anymore. It looks like consequences. You imagine what happens if it's deployed, lights going out across an entire city, hospitals losing power, systems shutting down at the worst possible moment, not because of a malfunction, but because of something you built. The thought doesn't stop you, but it stays with you. You tell yourself it's necessary, that the other side is doing the same thing, that this is just how the world works at this level. But deep down, you know the truth. You've crossed another line, one you can't step back from. Because this time, you didn't just find the weakness, you created what happens next. And once something like that exists, it can't be undone.
At some point, the keyboard stops being enough. You're no longer the one writing every line of code or slipping into networks yourself. Instead, you're watching others do it, guiding them, deciding when they move, when they stop, and when they disappear. The promotion isn't about skill anymore, it's about control. You're no longer inside the system, you're above it. Your world shifts from execution to oversight. Multiple operations run at the same time across different countries, different targets, different stakes. Each one is a moving piece in a much larger game, and you're the one responsible for keeping them all aligned. You monitor live feeds, track progress, adjust strategies in real time. One wrong decision doesn't just fail a mission, it exposes everything. And then, one night, it happens. A small signal at first, easy to ignore if you're inexperienced, but you're not. You recognize it instantly. Something's wrong, an anomaly, a pattern that shouldn't exist. Someone on the other side has noticed. Within minutes, the situation escalates. Defensive teams begin moving through the network, isolating systems, tracing activity, looking for the source.
They're not just trying to stop the intrusion, they're trying to understand it, to capture it, to connect it back to you. This is the moment every operation fears, the burn. You watch it unfold in real time. Access points start disappearing, pathways collapse, safe routes turn into dead ends. Your team is still inside, still exposed, and every second increases the risk of being identified. You have one decision to make and no time to hesitate. You shut it down immediately. Commands are sent, systems wiped, tools erased, connections severed so cleanly it's like they were never there. The objective is no longer success, it's survival. You're not trying to win anymore, you're trying to disappear. For a moment, everything goes silent. Then, a few days later, the noise begins. A breaking news headline flashes across screens, reports of a major cyber incident, anonymous sources, security experts analyzing fragments of code, trying to understand who was behind it. They don't have names, but they have patterns, signatures, clues. And for the first time, you see your work from the outside, described, speculated, turned into a story for the world to consume. Governments deny involvement. Officials speak carefully, choosing every word. Publicly, nothing is confirmed. Unofficially, everyone knows something happened. And you sit there, watching it unfold, knowing exactly how close it came to exposing everything. There's a strange feeling that comes with it. Not pride, not fear, something in between. Because this isn't just a hidden operation anymore. It's part of a much larger narrative, one that's being watched, analyzed, and slowly understood by people who are getting better at finding you. From this point forward, nothing gets easier. Every move is harder. Every system is more protected. Every mistake is more dangerous. You're no longer operating in the shadows alone. The shadows are starting to look back. There are no more promotions after this, no higher titles, no new access levels, just deeper layers of silence. You've reached the point where your existence itself becomes a liability. So it gets erased, not dramatically, not at all once, but piece by piece. Accounts disappear, records get rerouted, your digital footprint fades, until eventually it's like you were never there at all. To the outside world, you're just another person in the crowd, but inside the system, you've become something else entirely. You don't run operations anymore. You design them years in advance. Long-term strategies, silent entries, access points that aren't meant to be used today or even tomorrow, but someday when it matters most. You plant ideas inside systems, not just code, hidden pathways buried so deep they look like part of the architecture itself. If activated, they wouldn't just disrupt a network, they would reshape everything connected to it. Time starts